Fuck it, we'll do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. And that's Sting with a cut off his new album. How you doing, Brown?
It's just going to be one of them days today. I can feel the technology is not going to help. Yes.
You too, eh?
Yes. Just, yeah. The day has come today, which I knew was coming.
Uh-oh.
Hello, everybody in YouTube land, by the way.
Jak się masz? Dobry doszli.
Yes, I know there's going to be a lot of people in a similar position to me, made redundant or lost their job because of what's going on.
Right.
They've been unemployed for 6 months, either through no fault of their own or shielding somebody or, basically being locked in.
Yep.
And what little support I get runs out in 2 weeks.
What's the justification for that?
So I have no money to live on from 2 weeks' time, and because I know that, again, don't get me wrong, I know there's people in worse off position. I know, but because
that's a small comfort, isn't it?
Because I went without and saved my money, I am now entitled to my national insurance stamp, and that's it.
Really?
And they've not taken into consideration what's going on. Extreme circumstances. So 2 weeks' time, I have no money to live on, and then I will be allowed to reclaim in 3 months after that. But because I've not paid full contributions for the previous 2 years, that may also affect what I get when I re-sign on. So it's just a vicious circle of being in a position which I didn't ask for, and how am I supposed to live?
Basically, the social contract between the individual and the government is broken, and they don't give a fuck if you live or die. That's the fact, isn't it?
Yes.
They don't give a fuck if you live or die.
I've been told they are aware of the situation, but nothing. The guy on the phone said I've had lots of phone calls like you, that money runs out. What do we do?
Yeah,
can't they extend it for like a year because of what's going on? But it seems to me they're just making this up on the fly.
I ain't got a clue. The government's going to collapse at this rate. I think, given there's more and more riots pretty much every hour, I'm running out of cities where there aren't riots going on. So I think full collapse of society is imminent if they're not careful. Simple as that.
When people haven't got money to buy food, pay the bills,
they riot. Simple as that. If you're hungry, you're hangry. I was hangry earlier when I realised that was part of my problem.
This is to save X amount of people who seem to have, and it's sad, don't get me wrong, who have seemed to have gone anyway. I just don't think any of this has been worth it on any level. I can personally see another 50,000 dying.
And because that's gone up. It was 25,000 earlier. You've doubled your estimate.
No, it was 25,000 in the last 3 and a bit weeks who have died. Right. So I could probably see another 50,000 between now and say May, June. And for what?
I beg your pardon, because 100. Well,
And for what?
I mean, isn't it the whole point of national insurance? Is a special, unique tax that is specifically ring marked
I've
to protect
worked
you
25 years straight.
and pay tax and national insurance?
Yes.
I mean,
Anyway.
I'm not an expert on these things, but I seem to recall that specifically, everything, taxes cover everything except one thing, national insurance. It is unique as a tax that is your money that is put away for when you're not earning. It's yours. It's
Yeah, well, I'm
literally
not allowed to.
the
I'm not allowed to have it by the sounds of it.
So you're not getting your national insurance. Hello,
Hello, Ian.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's not. I thought I wasn't, but I'm doing well compared to him. Don't ask him. Don't ask.
Hello, Ian. By the way, thanks for joining us.
It's all right.
You're all right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good
How you
lad.
guys doing?
Yeah, we're not bad. Annoyed. I'm annoyed.
He's annoyed. I'm half
Could be
asleep.
worse.
I'm tripping off lack of sleep. It's brilliant.
you haven't gone to sleep?
No, I did have a tell a
He
lie.
loves
I had about 4 hours. Then I had a 1 hour nap in the afternoon. By just constantly tired, but I'm doing stuff. So it's good. It's not a bug. It's a feature. I'm out of it on tea. Way tea and flake and lack of sleep.
I was in a nutshell. I was saying my what little support I get from the government because of all this finishes in 2 weeks.
That's the thing. You see, it's going to get worse before it gets any better.
And they've not made an allowance for what's going on.
Well, sooner or later, people are going to be, walking the streets and with placards up and doing the usual stuff when they get pissed off. They will be doing that.
Oh, yes.
They'll be reinforcing the law, and police will come out with their batons and start beating people, and this is where it's heading. So
it is. I can see something along. If the Dutch, and I love the Dutch, if they're rioting, apparently they were rioting because they were so bored. The young men wanted something to do. Apparently.
Oh, is that the reason?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very dangerous in the next towards the end of this year, especially if the government keeps going the way they're going. As I said, none of it makes any sense to me. You can go shopping and touch a loads of stuff, loads of cans, loads of eggs, loads of crap, which apparently, according to them, could be infected by the old bear bug. Yet you can't go to a pub. You can't sit down in a restaurant to eat, which is the same thing, really. You're making contact with people, you're talking to people and stuff like that. So
building that herd immunity up as well.
Yeah, none of it makes any sense to me. And
exactly.
The only problem is the normies. When you talk, like when I talk to my sister, she's like, well, why would they be lying and stuff like that? And there's 1 billion reasons why they would lie.
Exactly.
But normies don't get it. Yeah, normies don't get it. They're just like, they're just like, yeah, we have to follow what the government says, and they're trying to protect us and all that stuff. And it's like, well, none of it makes any sense. Even when you say to them, what the problem with this world is now is that people are in their minds are creating their own reality, and the worst kind of people are trying to make their own reality a reality. Like, these people that are going on about, there's different sexes, you have to name different. There's different names for the way people feel and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they're putting that out into the world as a reality, when in reality, it's not a reality. It's not even a fact. Exactly. And this is the problem with this world. So
everyone needs to trip out immediately. It's the only solution. Everyone must at least go for lack of sleep for 3 days. I recommend it.
Oh, I've done that.
Go psychedelic naturally.
Yeah, I basically spoke to the guy on the phone, and he said, yeah, we've got phone calls coming through with people who are in a similar position as me. They lost their job through no fault of their own. They're 6 months of what support they get. And don't get me wrong, some people have not even had that because of being self-employed, etc., etc. The 6 months of help is running out. So as I said, I have 2 weeks left, and then I have to fill in another form for my stamp to be paid. I am not entitled to any money because I have over the threshold in savings, which I went without to save. And don't get me wrong, there's people who haven't got any savings, and it's
how did I know you've got savings?
Well, because you have to, when you go on to, I think it's income support. I was on Job Seekers. you are you're paid that irrespective of what you've got, because you're entitled to that.
Yeah.
Because of your national insurance. If you've
Exactly.
paid,
It's your money already.
If
It's
you've
your
paid,
money.
yeah, if you've paid 2 full years of national insurance up until you claim, you get the 6 months. So effectively, it is your money you're getting back.
Exactly. It's your money. National insurance should be optional.
Yeah.
Or you should be able to put it into your account.
I have been told after the 6 months, you apply for income-based support.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have told them that you had savings.
Well, they're probably going to your bank account by
now.
now.
No, they're not allowed to. That's against the law. They cannot go into your bank account and tell they cannot. That's against. Check it out. It's against the law.
Well, the thing is, if if I was to say on the form, you haven't got savings, trust me, because
how are they going to find out?
They've done it with my brother.
No, Mr. Brown, how are they going to find out unless they go into your account, which is illegal?
Right. Well, I don't know about that then, so I may need to.
You can, if you've got two accounts, so you've got savings account and your normal account.
Right.
All you have to do is show them your normal account. That's all you have to do.
It's a bit of a ridiculous system. I actually remember being back at school learning about this back in the 30s in the Depression. That basically. Any government benefit was means tested. So there's 2 people, Mr. Brown and Mr. Green, let's say, Mr. Hypothetical Green, right?
Mr. Pink.
Mr. Pink. They're all
nice.
They are going to be doing robberies soon, aren't they? Why do I have to be Mr. Brown?
Why do I always get the shit name?
Exactly. So there's Mr. Green and Mr. Shit. Sorry, Mr. Brown. Mr. Chocolate. Look, what if we pick something nice? Like, oh, look, karma. I thought it slipped on the icebox. Look, the point is, right, it got 2 geezers, Brown and hypothetical imaginary geezer. They both earn exactly the same amount of money. One of them diligently saves for a rainy day. That's how Mr. Brown right here. Mr. Green, meanwhile, spends it all on coke, dope and hookers. And he gets a handout from the government. Now, how is that fair?
Yeah.
He's had a party and he gets money from the government. You've diligently saved. You've got to sort yourself out.
I know.
It basically encourages people to party, doesn't it?
There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people like me just fucking raging at this.
As I said, they're not allowed to look into your accounts. You can only give them the accounts that you want to give them. It's ridiculous. As I said, they cannot look into your account. It's like that's one of those things that they get to scare you with. That is exactly what they're doing. So really shouldn't have told them that you had savings. And
well, it was over the phone, but the thing is, I had this conversation with my father about his car insurance. When you try and pull a fast one in the long term, considering how much money I'm going to get for those 12 weeks.
Old-fashioned thinking. That's old-fashioned thinking. The actual organization that's governing us, they're corrupt. So why why should you be any different?
I know. That's the irony of it all, Ian. I know.
Yes, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They cut every corner. These rich people cut every corner not to pay tax. They dodge everything. Yeah. They're the ones that governing, the government is governing our lives. Why should we be any different? I mean, I'm not saying you should go and rob a bank or, murder someone or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that
that could be a good idea for a film.
The rules are there to be bent.
You think Amazon's paying any tax? You think Apple are paying any tax? They're not.
People do stuff to survive, and you wonder why we got crime in the streets. It starts from the top. It starts from the organization. If they're not showing you the right way, if they're doing corrupt things, then obviously people are going to go, well, they're doing it, I'm going to do it, and it makes no sense to me.
Exactly. Full agreement there.
My brother was in a similar position, and I think he,
My brother knows Karl Marx. He says, I like your manifesto. I'll put it to the test, though.
You know what? I had a friend that he had a huge company, and he basically was not paying tax at one point, and then he thought he got away with it, and then one day they caught up with him, and they cornered him, and they said, you owe this amount of tax. And he still got away with it. He basically had a mortgage on his house, and he used the mortgage to levy them and stuff like that. And he got away with it. He ended up paying a little bit, but not as much as he truly owed. Do you know what I mean? And also, they can't, if you don't have the money, how are they gonna get the money off you?
Well, the thing is, Ian,
Exactly.
job seekers is I've been living on £70 a week.
Spend your money. I tell you, that's the solution. To be honest, go to the bank tomorrow, take out all the money,
Mac.
have a massive party, or have a party and a Mac, and then you can honestly tell them, I've got fuck all money. Give me my benefit, you wankers.
Have a huge party in front of the Department of Work and Pension.
Mr. Brown, do you have any money? No, I mean, I've got 2 hookers sitting in me lap.
Well, you could see me spending it away.
And a big Mac top, and I'm exactly. I've got a big pile of sweeties right here. What of it?
There's going to be a lot of people, as I said, in a similar position to me. No money, nothing to live on. People have been living on fresh air for a year as it is. And the government, I genuinely think it's out of control. It's awesome. It's like last March, it was like a tiny little snowball coming down the hill, and it's just picking up speed as it's going down and getting bigger.
Then.
And you're right, Ian. I can see I think this is going to be the last lockdown because people will not take it anymore.
Well, it's not working now. I just went out on the street just a minute ago, and people, this doesn't look like lockdown to me. As I said, a couple of coffee shops are open, and people are sitting in there drinking coffees just down where Battersea Park is. And in Battersea Park, there's people wandering around, like a lot of them no masks. So, I think people are actually getting the fact that the pandemic is not as severe as the news is putting out, I think people are getting it.
News yesterday, just over 100,000 yesterday.
I actually believe that's a lie.
I think that,
See, they've lied to us. So
I think there's a little bit of cooking in the books. Yeah,
they're definitely cooking the books at least.
Because apparently, don't you? Somebody who's died of COVID, don't they get a payment, or the hospital or the actual family get a payment?
I really don't know. I do know one thing though. One of my best friends beginning of last year, his brother died of this sickness, and now his father's died, and he's not even allowed to. He has to bury that when they bury him. He has to be at a distance. You know what I mean? They can't even say goodbye properly. It's crazy. I mean, I know one person that buried her mum, and they had to sit in the car in the graveyard and look at them put the coffin down. They weren't even allowed to stand around the grave or throw dirt in or anything. They had to sit in the car and watch the guys, the people that are supposed to put the grave in.
That's pretty sick. And then imagine going down the Tesco's 2 hours later, or other
exactly,
or Sainsbury's, and there's people, as you say, going for a coffee, licking the cucumbers, breathing over everything. Double standards. So in other words, funerals aren't considered important, but going for a coffee. I mean, I like my coffee, but if I was, it's almost deliberately taking the piss, isn't it?
I think it does sound like they do want unrest for some reason.
It's either that or they're massively incompetent because it's the way they go.
Well, I don't believe that no one's that incompetent.
And they did it on purpose.
I think they did it on purpose, yeah.
It's become one of my great philosophical questions. Whenever there's something wrong, which seems to be all day, every day, it's always, am I dealing with a well-meaning idiot or an evil genius? And after a while, it becomes a moot question. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever it is, whether it's the internet or the COVID or taxes or double standard prime ministers or whatever. It's just
I just don't get any of this. I just think we're in a very, very dark place.
We are in a dark place, but the thing is though, there's always I'd love to, I'm not in trouble like you, Mr. Brown, when it comes to money. I'm kind of grateful with the work I'm getting.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you see. I think there are ways out of it. You just got to find a way.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Do you know what I mean? Don't make this whole situation make you feel depressed either, because that won't do any good either.
Well, there's nothing I can really do, is there? Because unless if they change it, which I've been expecting this day. To be fair,
there's always a way, though, Mr. Brown. Yeah. You've got to find a way. I've got no answers for you, but I do know one thing: there's always a way out of everything.
Yeah, as I said, I'm more fortunate than most people, but it's the people who I feel sorry for, who are the ones who are getting the letter, what I've got, and they've got no savings, they've got mouths to feed, mortgages to pay. We didn't ask for any of this fucking shit. Didn't ask for any of this, and I just don't know what to say.
But there's a story, wasn't there, about the guy that committed suicide because he only had £5 in his account and he couldn't feed his family. There's that story that's not really reported. It's crazy.
All that is yet to come.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
When people are losing their houses that they've worked hard for because they can't pay the mortgage, can't pay the bills. This is all to protect people from overloading the NHS, and it just seems to me that these people have just died anyway.
But you know what? I went to the hospital with my mum a couple of days, actually yesterday, and she's got like a bad leg. She's got like she's got pain in her leg, and we went to St. George's, right? And all these reports about the hospitals being overrun by COVID and stuff. Like we went in there, and there was like a good substantial amount of people there. I wouldn't say it's overrun though. And we went to the walk-in X-ray section,
right?
And we sat there for 5 minutes, and she got seen very fast, and she got done very fast as well. She came out, and it must have taken about 15 minutes, and we walked out of there. And I was thinking to myself, where are all the ambulance going crazy, running around, shoveling, COVID people? Where is the madness that has been reported in the news every day? Yeah, and I was only in the hospital yesterday, and it seemed like everything was under control. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, mate. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not often speechless about anything, but I just don't know.
St. George's is one of the biggest hospitals in. Well, I've got three hospitals to go to in my borough. It's St. Christopher's, St. George's, and Chelsea. And St. George's is the biggest one. And you'd think they'd be overrun by staff running around, panicking and stuff, because that's what we're led to believe.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
As I said, everything was very calm when I was in that hospital. And maybe I wasn't in the section where they are going crazy, but it didn't seem like the whole place was going crazy to me. It seemed like they were very controlled, So I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Neither do I. Cockney, are you there?
Yeah, I am. No, you must be thinking, why isn't he interrupting? No, I'm flabbergasted. The whole thing does seem like a surreal and unhappy situation, which is a bad combo. If I like surreal situations, if they're chipper, but this is surreal and depressing. It's a bad combo.
As I've said, I don't think people are going to take another lockdown, and I think I would like to think this is the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning. I don't know.
Isn't that a song? The end of the beginning.
This isn't the end, even the beginning of the end, but it is the beginning.
It's really puzzling to me because, as I said, if it is bad as the news report, then people be dropping in the street.
Yeah,
but people aren't dropping in the street, and people are wandering around in the street, and it's like it's an ordinary day to me. I went to work on last week Friday, and there was still a traffic jam. I remember the first lockdown when I was allowed to go to work. We were driving the street. There was hardly any cars in the street. We got there well within time to the location. But Friday last week we were driving, and the streets were blocked, with cars and stuff. People were just going around doing the thing that they do all the time. This lockdown seems pretty pointless if people are just going to carry on doing what they're doing. Doesn't feel like a lockdown to me. I don't know about you, where you live, Mr. Brown. I don't know about you.
I have. Well, it's quite. I live in a village. You can tell it's quiet, but it seems to be kind of near normal-ish. I've just the thing. What strikes me is I've heard no children playing or anything for a long time.
Yeah,
the joyful children noises.
Yeah, that nice background noise.
Yeah, just silent. And
That's kind of depressing, isn't it?
it is. I don't even think the birds are singing.
I want to change the subject slightly because one of the
Please
reasons why I
do.
wanted
Yeah, we are due because that's 25 minutes. So superb, mate. You change
timing.
it. Go
Well,
for it,
one of
mate.
the reasons why I wanted to come on is because wanted to speak to Cockney about the time travel thing, and I found
Oh, you
I
Here we go.
realized that I've watched a lot of time travel things, and I just remembered there are loads like The Dark. Have you ever seen The Dark? It's a German TV show.
No, I saw your tweet because the only
Yeah.
one that I know is the. I know it's falling out of my head. The the guy and he's passed out and he's in his body. That one in the 60s or 70s. Oh, see, my head's not working.
That was that's Quantum Leap.
No, the other one that you told me, but the one that you put on your tweet, the British one. There were two. One in the 70s.
Oh, yes, Mars.
Life on Mars.
Life on Mars.
Yeah, that's
that
was a good one.
Yeah, that's a
That
good
was
one.
good.
And there's a show called The Dark, which is a German show. It's on Netflix, and basically it's about this guy whose brother went missing years ago, and you discovered that when they were going on his trip in the forest, he found a tunnel, and when he went into the tunnel, and there's all these little doors that he finds in his tunnel, and he goes through a door, and
Wasn't Colwitz, was it?
No. Suddenly he finds himself back in the 80s as a brother, and he kind of got lost, and his older brother finds the tunnel, and then he goes in there and he finds his brother, but he finds out that if he takes his brother from that reality, his reality will change for the worse. So but at least he knows where the door is, so he can go backwards and forwards and stuff. And then there's another subplot where you find out this mysterious guy is kidnapping these kids and doing experiments on them, and and it just gets worse and worse. The show, but it's quite good. It's a German. The Germans have a very different take on life when you watch their shows, and the Scandinavians as well.
I like German.
Yeah, and the Scandinavian shows as well. They have a very different. The Tunnel, for instance, is a really good. It's not a time travel thing, but it's a really good detective show, which I think Americans
because they did the bridge, didn't they? The bridge,
the bridge,
the tunnel.
Yeah, the tunnel was the original. Yeah,
the roundabout, is that going to be coming out next year?
I don't know. Yeah, but
Nordic crime drama, the roundabout.
I always remember when I was a kid on TV. Do you remember the Final Countdown?
Final countdown.
I remember the
song. I know.
Europe, wasn't it? But dreaming of
Kirk
Venus.
Douglas.
Oh. Yeah, Kirk Douglas.
It was like where an aircraft carrier goes back to World War II and Pearl Harbor. Do you remember that one?
No, I don't remember that at all. Was it good?
I
think it had. Was it Martin Sheen? Kirk Douglas. It was not bad actually, considering it was 1980. The concept was there was a kind of a vortex opened in front of this. I think it was the Nimitz, USS Nimitz. In present day, so it had all the Tomcats and F-16s and all that. And the vortex, they thought it was a storm. And then the next, when the storm had finished, they saw these Japanese Zeros flying over.
Oh, right.
And they didn't realize they've actually gone back to 1942.
Right, so the Nimitz is modern and Zeros are from World War II, aren't they?
So the quandary was, do we stop Pearl Harbor before it happened?
Why was it a quandary? You'd think the immediate answer would be yes, or did they realize they'd be creating an alternate timeline? They wouldn't get rock and roll.
That's why, as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, I thought this film was pretty damn good. So there you go. Yeah, it's a great film. It's a great film.
Oh, check it out.
Very of its time.
Well, which time? 42 or 85?
Yeah.
Very much of its time.
1980.
Oh.
Yeah, there's Travelers as well, as I mentioned in the tweet. That's the show I was trying to remember the name of, with the guy from Will and Grace. Travelers.
See, this is when I'm a bit more awake and Brown's a bit less depressed.
Philadelphia Experiment.
We could do that was about cheese, but we could. I think basically, if my theory is sound, then you can basically and even if it isn't, I'd be happy to test it, because if I trust my theory, then I want to test it. You could basically name any time travel story and see which of the three categories that I've named a time travel story will fit into, unless it's Back to the Future where it's all three.
30 minutes. The Philadelphia experiment was a World War II story where they were experimenting on, I think it was cloaking technology or something. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's based on a true story. Some people say it's based on a true story, that actually they found that ship and something happened to it. And when they went in there, everybody was dead. And some of them were actually melded to the metal in the walls and stuff like that. And they were very puzzled to what happened. Yeah, what happened with it, because they were doing this experiment. But they've made films on it. That
was back in the old VHS days.
Yes, they were. Yeah. Yeah, TriStar. Clack video machines. I remember them. But I don't know. I mean, time travel is I don't know, Mr. Cockney, if you've seen videos on YouTube about people that actually claim they're time travelers. They're so funny. Some of them are just absolutely hilarious.
Because as problem being pointed out on Twitter, you can't actually time travel to the past, at least in physics, and I agree with that. But of course, there's always someone that will go, you can. Clearly, these people. So, but then again, you might watch it for the amusement value. Yeah, no, I just bought a book on the moon, and I thought it was going to be a sensible book on the moon. And got to the last chapter, and they go, time travel. I'm like, oh, here we fucking go.
Yeah,
book in the bin. So,
waste of money.
Yeah, I just end up going through it with a blue pen. Like I mentioned on another broadcast, any book that doesn't know the difference between the far side of the moon and the dark side of the moon. I mean, I'm a bit of a tiresome pedant. It's literally, well, this is the thing. It's literally a book on the moon. So if a book on the moon doesn't know the difference between the far side and the dark side, it's fucking rubbish, isn't it? And they couldn't spell Khrushchev. It's 3 H's in Khrushchev, not 2, you muppet.
Well, I really don't know. As I said, it's really funny how if you go back in time, especially with this world, when people used to say something and it was a fact, a lot of people used to accept it. Now we realize that some of the truth might be manipulated by people in power, and what we knew that was the truth isn't really the truth. Yeah,
even Pearl Harbor itself. Well, Pearl Harbor. What is this? A simple pop question. If you don't know the answer, you can ask Siri. In which year did Hawaii become a state? Anyone?
No idea.
Anyone? Correct. 1959. All right. In which year was Pearl Harbor bombed?
42.
1941, December. So,
sorry,
we'll allow that. Yeah, a date that will live in I can't get the words out.
I'm thinking the video game. Sorry.
So, which came first, 41 or 59? 41, right? So, if Pearl Harbor got bombed 18 years before it was a US state, then why did the Americans have a fucking base there in the first place if it wasn't part of the USA? Think about it. That's just solid fact.
Don't know.
See, the Japanese had as much of a right to be there as the Americans. It was an independent nation. That's the answer.
Oh, was it?
Well, it used to be. What happened was the Queen of Hawaii went on holiday, and the Americans went, right, fuck it, we'll have that. And they
it's the ones that are in power that creates the history.
Exactly. History is written by the winners, apart from the Siege of Constantinople. That history was written by the losers, but that is the exception that proves the rule. But anyway, so, and the other thing about Pearl Harbor is that it wasn't the only place they bombed. They bombed several places like the Philippines, but it became an embarrassment because they're like, yeah, we got bombed by the Japanese, but it's also embarrassing that we had all these bases there because what were we doing there in the first place? So, in 2020 hindsight, it's not quite so straightforward, really. So, I don't know where I was going with that, but basically.
Oh, you know what?
Yes.
Another reason why I wanted to come on is because I remembered a story that I heard, and listen to the story, right? And you might have heard it before. It was somebody wrote it in Reddit, and I just heard it from another source, so I didn't really read the Reddit writing, but this is really fascinating. Basically, it's about a guy, I think he was playing rugby or American football, can't remember what nationality he was, and he was playing this game and he actually hit his head and he was unconscious for a couple of seconds or minutes or whatever, and he woke up and everything was fine. He was, they checked him out, he was fine and stuff like that. Then as years go on, he finds this meets this beautiful woman, gets married, has, you know, some 4 beautiful kids. His life is fantastic. He has this great job, loves his kids. He has this 9-to-5 job, comes home, kisses his kids, eats burgers, you know, watches sport, loves his woman. Then one day he's sitting in his living room and he looks at his lamp on his table, and there's something weird about his lamp, and he couldn't figure it out. And he kept looking at his lamp, and days he's looking at his lamp, and his wife is really worried about him, and they have arguments. And then one day his wife says, "I'm going to my mum's. You just sort it out." Takes the kids, goes to his mum's, and he just sits there looking at the lamp, and he can't figure out what's wrong with the lamp. And suddenly he realizes that the lamp is not real, and then he wakes up. And he wakes up from the hit in his head that he had, and he's in the hospital.
I'm getting tingles. This is all a bit.
And he's in the hospital.
Mars, mate.
Yeah, no, he's in the hospital, and he suddenly realized that everything he experienced for all those years with his kids, with his wife, doesn't exist. It's all been in his head, and he's been out for like 30 minutes. He experienced 17 years within the space of 5 minutes when he was out in the hospital.
What?
Much like one of these streams.
I thought
he had to be, and he had to be, he had to go to therapy because he missed his kids, he missed his wife, he missed his job. Wow. The life that he had experienced within,
well,
he's so depressed.
Has it been made into a film?
No, it hasn't. But
there you go, mate.
They claim that it's true, but you know, who knows? It might be made up.
I mean, it'd be weird enough if it was real time. Imagine just waking up after 17 years and your whole life had been alive. But the fact that you got the time compression on top of that, that's 2 weirdnesses.
Couldn't you base your fan film on that to undo the Chibnall's era?
Chibnall era, yeah.
Sounds like a winner to me, mate. That.
No, it sounds like the Dallas situation where it was all a dream, and you don't want to go down that.
I was in the shower, Barbie.
Yeah. But that, I mean,
if the dream ending, isn't it?
But I mean, I've heard stories about people experiencing things, you know, within time compression, but not 17 years, not 18 years.
That is wacky, because I mean, how would you have all the details? I mean, if they really asked him detailed questions about those 17 years.
Yeah,
that seems a bit
30 minutes does seem. I could understand that if he was out for say 2-3 years in a coma, but 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes and 17 X amount years. I mean, if this is true, this is that guy is depressed because he had all these kids. You know, he loved his kids, he loved his life, and suddenly he's got nothing. You know?
Well, look at it this way: he can still do the same. He's still got those. He's done his 17 years, but the thing is, because it was only 30 minutes, he has got these 17 years to come. So he just needs to. You know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But the twist, then he meets the woman. It's the nurse, and then
maybe.
And then 17 years later, he starts looking at the lamp.
But this lamp again.
No, goes round in a circle.
Trippy dippy. I don't know. There was actually it was perfectly legal, so I can tell you. I was whacked out on mushrooms in Amsterdam, where I bought them in a shop. And my first time on magic mushrooms. If you're going to do magic mushrooms, don't go with a crazy Californian called Leilani. It's just going to make it even more wacky. But there's a part of me that thinks I'm still on that fucking bed in Amsterdam with Leilani, tripping out. And these 17 years have all been a dream. In fact, oh my God, problem. You're
having a bad trip, mate.
Avatar. Well, it's been pretty good actually. But Mega Geek, you're like the Avatar. Convincing me that this is all a dream.
With that flat cap.
Oh my God. It's like Mega Geek is actually the bridge to reality. But
like, sire of flat caps.
I want to stay in the dream. I want Brown to be real.
I remember, you remember that show? What's it? Oh, fuck. Who's
Oh, fuck. That's a good name for a show.
I just had it in my head and it's gone. You know when that happens and just really annoying.
Yes. Old age, mate. Old age.
On this show. No, it's not. It's the Brown influence. It does it.
You know, you know the
Charlie Brooker.
Charlie Brooker. That's right. You know, Harrison Ford's wife, Calissa Flockhart.
Calissa Flockhart.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's she famous
Ally
for?
McBeal.
Ally McBeal. There was
I never watched it.
So there was an episode in Ally McBeal, right, where this woman wanted to die. There was nothing wrong with her, but she wanted to die, and she wanted to go to court and say, "I want to die legally." And Ally McBeal was trying to defend her. And the reason why she wanted to die was because every time she fell asleep, she entered into a reality where her life was so much better than the life she was experiencing in reality. And so she wanted to die. She wanted to dream forever and live in that idyllic world where she had a beautiful husband and her life was so great. When she woke up, she felt so depressed.
See,
and that was a really good episode.
Life on Mars was ripped off Ally McBeal?
Well, the thing is, it's a different take, isn't it, on it? You know, you're talking about the police and stuff. Yeah, of course. You could look. There's no original stories anymore.
Exactly. There's hundreds of shows you could. I mean, do you know what? This is a really good topic to get into because basically, yeah, in a way, it must have been easy writing stories 3,000 years ago because nothing had been done. But I think rather than sit here now and get depressed when I'm writing. What?
Did they have pens back then?
I don't know. Stop interrupting, will you? I'm too tired to keep. Otherwise, I'm not going to finish my point. Sorry, I'm not my usual.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise.
Yeah, I'm on half strength. It's me. I'm not. Anyway,
go on.
Yeah, what was I saying? Right. So now, if you're writing a story, you think, oh, everything's been done. But I found that's actually you can turn that into an advantage. And basically, my OCD brain, if it is OCD, whatever, breaks everything down into categories like, yeah, this is the dream story. This is the a replicant story. And so all you need to do is be aware that whatever you write probably has been done, like time machine set to the present or whatever, but just do it in a different way. Find your own take on it. I mean, if you can't, that's basically it. So yeah, it's almost impossible to come up with an idea that hasn't been done before. Even if you have, Mega Geek will come along and go, no, actually, it's been done in this film. Not before. Music by John or whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
So, yeah, Killjoy.
No, but that's the thing. But embrace the Killjoy because otherwise you get depressed. Go, okay, I can't do it completely original. So it's kind of like what Tarantino does. Take the cliche, put your own spin on it, and then it's original in that sense. So yeah, good one, Mega Geek. I think you've hit upon something there. Any budding writers out there, that's what you do.
You're stimulating him again.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I need waking up. So that's it. So Ally McBeal or Life on Mars or Total Recall, whatever it is, you know. In fact, or another one, the best episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 6, episode whatever, Normal Again. But it was the same idea. The idea that the whole thing has been a dream, and she wakes up in a loony bin. And so again, it's been done 100 times in 100 different ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, quite frankly, if I ever do finish my story, it will be basically trotting out my 9 favorite cliches, but just doing it in original. I'm not going to pretend they're original. I'm just going to do them in the original. I might as well tell you in advance. In my story, at some point, the main character is going to be wondering if it's a dream or not. You know, spoiler alert, but you know, it has been done. But I'll try and do it in a different way.
But really, though, I remember listening to Tarantino talk and stuff like that. Really, he was just doing the things that I was doing anyway. Because I wouldn't say the stuff that I write or make is original. Every time you think of an idea, you can bet your bottom dollar that 3 people in the entire world has thought of the same idea. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just the way you twist it. And the best thing about Tarantino is that he watches all these obscure Japanese and Chinese stuff, and he kind of
Hong Kong cinema, on Fire equals Wild Dogs.
And he kind of melds them into something that he wants to. He wasn't the first one to have people in black ties and black suits do a crime. I mean, that's been done hundreds of times in Japanese and Korean, Korean action movies. So he just introduced it to the West. That's all he did. You know,
and hopefully did it slightly originally, or in that case, maybe not even originally, but in the West it hadn't been seen so much.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly. So, I mean, don't be scared of doing something that's already been done. You just got to put your own twist on it. I guess.
Is Reservoir Dogs a good film in your opinion?
I think it is. I liked it when I first saw it. One of 2 reasons why I liked it. One is because it was entertaining. 2 was because as a filmmaker, he gave you the green light to do something that was. That had very little money, and he said, look, if you've got 1 room, make it count.
That's this is why I can't get any sleep. You guys pump me up, and by the time the show's over, because you know what it is. No, literally, I've been having an ongoing argument. It's like a joke now. An ongoing argument, debate, discussion with Robert Burnett. Hello, sir.
He knows nothing.
No, that's what I started with. About a specific scene in Reservoir Dogs. And
Rob, we need you on here.
Now, I need to ask you guys, and I'm not going to be like looking for an answer because it is
on 45 minutes.
But it got so ridiculous that basically I did a video on it and I did an open letter to Burnett. He then watched it, and then he spent 20 minutes of his show talking about it. Although, again, classic with the old listening bit, he would basically spend 20 minutes going,
I'm right.
Yeah, I'm right. Cockney's wrong. And to be fair, so this is the ironic lesson. Everyone's got a story to tell, but fuck those cunts. I've got my own show. So, and that's in a way why I'm here, because everyone's got a story to tell. Well, fuck them. I'm on Brown's show. But to be fair to him,
that's where it's happening, folks.
I watched it before I get to the specifics. I rewatched Reservoir Dogs, and I was like, oh, damn, I can really see how he made that mistake. And to be fair, before I go into it, at this point, I can see it can go either way. The stupid thing is about the whole argument is he brought up Reservoir Dogs. I was talking about the Rashomon effect, so it's a complete distraction. But since you brought up Reservoir Dogs, will you indulge me as I ask you a question?
That's the channel mantra, mate.
All right, what, indulge me?
Yes.
Brilliant. Me specifically. Sod you.
Yes.
Right, good. Thank you. Exactly. No interruptions, no digressions, no quips, no jokes.
That's why you pay no subs.
Exactly. No subs. Well, it's the Doomcock way. You're lucky I don't charge you. Right. Okay. And again, I'm not fishing for an answer. I'll have to make another cup of tea to keep myself awake. But right, so I'm not fishing for an answer because I respect you guys. If you're gonna, so I'm not telling you even. I'm not going to tell you which side is mine and which side's Burnett's. But basically, and it's one scene.
Okay.
And the argument that we're having is whether the scene actually happened in reality or it was in the imagination of the character. But the fascinating thing, and in a way it doesn't matter, or it could go either way, is it's like a lie wrapped up in an anecdote, wrapped up in an enigma, because it is specifically Mr. Orange. So I don't. Okay, bear with me. I'm half asleep, so I'm not usually. But I'm talking more bollocks than usual. But I'm going somewhere with this. I can almost feel you guys thinking, "What is Cockney going on about?" Right.
We think
Mr.
about
Orange.
that. That's normal, mate.
All right, fair enough. Right, all right, so let's start off. Right, Reservoir Dogs is a film, right? Tim Roth is an actor. That's his basic.
It is a film, yes.
Suspension of disbelief. It's fiction. Okay, right. In the world of Reservoir Dogs, Tim Roth is playing a police officer, right? That police officer is pretending to be a bank robber, right? He's undercover, right? Mr. Orange, remember with me so far?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Orange, to ingratiate himself with the other bank robbers, has to come up, or they've decided he'd best come up with a fake anecdote to give them to convince them that he's a criminal. He needs to have a story from his wacky criminal life that he never had because So tell us, Mr. Orange, about one of your wacky crime stories. Well, I was arresting a guy. Motherfucker, you're a cop, right? So he tells them the story about going into the commode, laden with dope, and there's 4 cops in there with the Alsatian, and he's all like, remember that?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So to be clear, the bit that no one is disagreeing with is Tim Roth playing a cop.
I can't remember.
To be a bank robber. Oh dear. Okay. Well,
it's been so long since I've seen it.
Okay. I mean, sorry, I didn't prep you guys for this. It's just Mega Geek brought up Reservoir Dogs. Maybe if you guys don't want to answer it now, I'll ask you the question. Right. Okay. So the question is,
focus.
So he's taken the anecdote from a real criminal, right? And there's a whole bit in Reservoir Dogs where he's acting out the anecdote because his sergeant is telling him it's got to have very similitude. You know, we want to have. Did they have taps in the restroom? Did they have a blow dryer? Was it a hand towel? It's got to be real, right? So I know even Mega Geek's not responding. You don't remember?
No, I just want to know the question.
Yeah, come on, get on with it. Focus.
All right, I'm trying to give the right amount of information. Obviously, too much. Okay, they get to the point where he is actually going back to the memory. Now, obviously, it's not a real memory because he's a cop, but they actually film Tim Roth in a commode with 4 cops and an Alsatian. So basically, Burnett's going, well, obviously, it didn't happen. And I'm like, that's deliberately misunderstanding for comic effects. We all know he's a cop and it didn't happen. But I'm saying the Tim Roth cop acted it out to give his story very similitude, so he knew whether it was a hand dryer or a towel, blah, 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 blah. And Burnett is saying so I guess I'm giving away which side he's taking, is saying
Not
it's
bad.
in his imagination. And the way it's filmed, the camera tilts round. I freely admit it could go either way. But as far as author intent, it's almost like the Blade Runner question, author intent. You know, you'd have to ask Quentin Tarantino. I'm absolutely insistent the author intent is that it did happen, and Burnett is equally insistent that it didn't happen. It's just in his imagination. That's the question.
So the question is whether it actually happened or whether it was in Tim Roth's or Mr. Orange's imagination.
Correct.
What you see is his imagination. Well, I would go for it was Mr. Orange's imagination, because that wasn't him. He was just taking the story that the cop gave him and imagining himself being in that situation so that he can tell the story like it wasn't a lie.
Well, like I say, they were telling it like that, and that's disingenuous because that's the third option, obviously, because I ended up thinking, yeah, well, obviously I know that he's a cop, so I know it didn't actually happen to him because he's a cop, not a dope smuggler. But what I'm saying is,
hello, Slavko.
Hello, Slavko. There's no denying that we physically see Tim Roth in the toilet with the 4 cops and the Alsatian. That happens on screen. Because I remember being laughed at by them going, obviously he didn't do it because he's a cop, not a dope smuggler.
Yeah, yes, but I don't get the question. Well, I don't get the question, Cockney. What's the question?
I'm not explaining it properly. So the 2 options that we're arguing about is I'm saying the cop acted it out, and he's saying no, it was just in his imagination, but it was filmed. This is what I'm getting to, a bigger question. It was filmed. We do see it. So obviously it didn't happen. The anecdote didn't happen. Well, actually, it made me realise, this is the thing, when you stop arguing, or when I stop arguing, and look, I realise
you're arguing with yourself, mate.
No, well, I know, but look, listen, it's established in the story that they got the anecdote from someone else. It happened. So I realised if they ever refilm Reservoir Dogs, it would be interesting.
Well, surely
to film the
anecdote is showing the audience for effect.
You're not letting me finish.
You've had 4 minutes.
It doesn't matter. I'm making a point.
Okay.
We should get to it.
All right, fine.
Please get to the point.
Well, I've gone this far in. I'm just going to stop now, and I'm going to have to start all over again.
Like Miriam.
But I'm confused on the question. The question is whether, look, the way it was shot, obviously because what's his name, Tim Roth was actually doing the scene, and they were like acting it out and stuff like that. That was Mr. Orange's imagination that we were seeing. That if he actually was the guy that actually happened, and the cop that told him that story, he's trying to put a visual stamp on it so that if he's asked the question, he could say it literally like it was literally him, like the hand
that's my point.
Like that.
But if it's his imagination, then he could make up something different the next time he thinks about it, because there is no reality. The whole point, because we do have a scene where the sergeant says you have to have a specific idea. Was it a hand towel? Was it a blow dryer? And so that's why, to give it verisimilitude, he would act it out and get 4 of his cop mates to go with an into the toilet.
Would he? No, because if you've got a good imagination, you would just imagine it. But the cop was right. He was saying that the details do count in a lie. You've got to know what the actual bathroom was like. You got to know if it was a blow dryer or was towels. You got to know if the toilets were dirty or if it was clean. You know what I mean?
Agreed on that. Okay.
Yeah. But the way I see it was just in Mr. Orange's imagination.
Okay, so you're in the Burnett camp. It's basically, until Tarantino comes on the show, it's unanswerable. But okay, look, we've gone this far. Please bear with me for another 2 minutes. The reason because what it is Burnett brought up Reservoir Dogs. I was bringing up a bigger point, which is a filmmaking question, which is actually leading to a problem I've got with The Last Jedi, right? And it's the Rashomon effect.
Always comes back to Jedi.
Yeah. Now, if you'll forgive me, I'm going to just assume that Mega Geek's going to know more about this than Mr. Brown, because this is a filmmaking technique.
Highly likely. I'm not offended. Highly likely.
All right. Thank you for that. Because if you do know, then I apologise in advance. But basically, I'm going to put you on the spot, Mega Geek. Do you know what the Rashomon effect is?
No, I don't.
All right. Okay. I'm disappointed. No, sorry. All right. It's based on the film Rashomon, which is the trope.
I know what it is.
Okay. Aha! See, you've subverted my expectations. You
a round head. Move.
I don't really.
Oh, nice. Oh, you subverted again. You're like a little roundhead, aren't you? Okay, the film. I haven't seen Rashomon either, but there's a joke coming up for that. All right, in the film
On
Rashomon,
55 minutes.
I believe it's. I don't think it's Kurosawa. It's a Japanese film set in. It's like samurai Japan, so what, 16th century, something like that. And the idea is that there's some incident, murder or whatever. Again, I don't know. I haven't seen it, and it's told from four people's point of view. But what they do is and it's admitting that we're all imperfect witnesses.
I do know what it is.
Or not paying attention. Right. So basically, they film four different versions, and while they're trying to get at the truth. Okay. And like I say, that's the trope namer. It became so popular, it's been done several times. The Usual Suspects being the most egregious example. Right. And my problem with any film that does this is I'm all for the trope of the unreliable narrator. I love the trope of the unreliable narrator. But I think it works particularly well in a prose novel, because with a prose novel, you've already got the artifice of the narrator because you're reading words, right? With cinema, you're filming. Okay, right? This is the central point I've been building up to. Here we go. At last, Cockney. Cockney's about to shut up. Okay, I think it's bad filmmaking to film the lies of the unreliable narrator. You can't film a lie. You can film dream sequences. You can film psychedelic trips. You can film Total Recall Imagination. I love all that stuff, but you cannot film a lie. You cannot film something that never happened. Well,
why not?
That's what the filmmakers that do it. Yeah, it's not illegal. It's been done 10 times. But that's
Lucasfilm have done it.
But why not? Why not? Why can't you film? Why can't you film a lie? It's from. Look, you're not making any sense, right?
No, you can't say that. I'm going to get offended.
No, but
I'm making.
No, but hold on. Look,
Gentlemen.
You've been speaking for 4 minutes, right? And you've gotten to the point. The point is what you're saying is that filmmakers cannot film a character that's in a film a lie, which is rubbish because it's been done. You can do it. It's been done. It's like saying you can't park there, but yet my car is parked there.
No, you know I'm aware of what I'm saying. I'm basically rubbishing the 10 films that have done it. I've done my research. I'm fully aware it's been done.
But it's fine to have that opinion, Cockney. I don't begrudge you for having that opinion at all. And if you think that they shouldn't do that, then that's your opinion. They shouldn't do that. But the fact remains that they have done it in multiple films.
Of course they have. I'm not the film police. I can't arrest people for making films, can I?
Film police.
I mean, look, going backwards, there is, a fine line between an idiot and a genius. I'm saying that this accepted trope that's been done at least 10 times is bullshit. Because the central argument, the central premise of a film is you're watching something that happens.
No, not necessarily. Look, I look. Have you ever watched Rebecca Gold?
The links are on the
in Rebecca Gold, right? In Rebecca Gold, right? In my web series, it ends in a cliffhanger.
Award-winning, don't forget.
Right, so the first episode ends in a cliffhanger. The second episode starts within that cliffhanger, right? And we break the fourth wall. Where she literally talks. She's asked the question by the psychiatrist, and within her description of what we're seeing, she answers the psychiatrist within that flashback, right? And then we cut to her talking to the psychiatrist. Now, if we go on your basis, we're not allowed to do that, but it makes it more interesting to do that via telling the story via visual medium, and that's why people do it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, there you go.
But I mean, no one's Cockney. What I'm saying is no one's right. It depends on what you want to do in your film. It's all a matter of opinion at the end of the day. And it's all a matter of visual expression as well.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, my specific issue is with The Usual Suspects, with people going, it's such a clever film. That's bollocks. Yeah. Because he made up the whole thing. So you've watched a film of something that never happened.
A lie. Yeah, you watched a film of a lie. That's the beauty of that film is that that's the huge twist that you took everything at face value, and then at the ending you realize he was lying all the time.
Spoilers.
For me, that is I mean, this is what got me thinking about before I heard Robert Meyer Burnett coin the term film connoisseur, because it made me think about why I don't become a wine connoisseur. Why should I pay good money to go on a course that's going to ruin my enjoyment of cheap plonk? And so basically I'm like saying, come on Cockney Spock's film connoisseur course, and I'm going to ruin these 10 films so you can never enjoy them again. through
No,
my snobby view of filmmaking. So
Well,
I admit, I can see why my premise sounds stupid, but
no,
that's
it
what I'm
doesn't.
saying.
It doesn't sound stupid. Listen,
Oh,
right?
thank you.
It doesn't sound stupid, and you have every right
Hooray.
to say it, right? And also,
Does
right,
to
what
me.
you're saying, no, it doesn't. What you're saying is that you do not accept that kind of logic in a film, and you're entitled to that opinion. And
Yeah,
quite
I mean,
right,
ultimately, like I say, I'm not the film police. I can't.
exactly.
I want all copies
1
of
hour.
Rashomon deleted. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to watch Rashomon. You're banned from seeing it. But my premise is The Usual Suspects isn't a clever film. It's a load of fucking bollocks, because it's basically the twist is the because any twist is basically going, aha, you made an assumption. That
Yeah.
assumption's wrong. Is your
Yeah.
twist. That is almost central, simplistic view of a twist. And I'm saying it's a cheat twist. There's a and all right, specifically, I did some research. I don't know the name of the screenwriters, but I did see the interview. The people that wrote The Usual Suspects got the idea from a far superior and, of course, much less well-known film, which is No Way Out. And that has a similar. Do you know No Way Out?
Yes, with Kevin Costner
and Sean Young. That's a beautiful film. Now, the difference between the two,
Sean Young,
is, Sean Young, the very same. In Stockings is perfect. It's the perfect film. But the difference between them is they don't film any lies in No Way Out. They just don't show you stuff that is central to the character later. And that, for me, is the difference between a clever script and a stupid one. In No Way Out, there's no lies. They just edit stuff out that is revealed later, where in The Usual Suspects, they film stuff that never happened. And so, given that it was based on, if you're going to copy No Way Out, why not copy the good bits? So, that's the premise.
As I said, I understand what you're saying, and you could. That's the beauty of film, that people will look at it in different ways. And as I said, I think Usual Suspects was a very good film, in my opinion. You know, Kaiser Soze, he could have mixed the truth with the lies that he obviously said. You know, there's no way of telling whether all of what he said was a complete lie, or was it mixed with the truth and with lies? Obviously, it was mixed with the truth and lies, because there were certain things in the report that he had to, you know, he had to say to make his lie a kind of a truth to the guy that was interviewing him, and that's what he did. And I thought it was very clever, personally, because I've never seen that done before. A whole film based on a complete lie. And obviously it's been done before, which is what I didn't know. But you know, I thought it was quite clever. And also, Cockney, you should never apologize for your opinion on movies, because that's what make movies. That's what make movies so freaking fascinating to me. That people have so many different opinions.
Yeah,
and
nice one.
Well done.
I mean, in a way, since I came up with that, you know, in my head, I've been waiting for enough of a film connoisseur to have a chat with about it. And, you know, the first one was Burnett, but he immediately went, oh, Reservoir Dogs. We spent 6 months arguing about Reservoir Dogs, and I still haven't actually got onto my main point, where in half an hour you allowed me to do it. So that's
6 months?
Literally.
And you didn't even get onto your point after 6 months. Jeez.
That's how ridiculous. But that's why
we've had it lucky after 5 minutes. So
I know. No, this is why you've got a superior.
Whoa.
He's my second favourite channel. You're my favourite, and that's why I want to dot me.
Because we're free.
Yeah, because we might have, we might have reached different conclusions, but we respect the fact that it's an opinion. It's not like say I'm not the film police, and neither are you. It's just I don't like.
Plus, I've got the Mega Geek begging to come on as well now, so we're on a roll. We're on a roll.
I only wanted to come on because of the time travel thing.
We're on a roll, mate.
Sorry. I
wanted to apologise to Cockney for not remembering.
Bless
the thing. So now I remember it. So
yeah, look, we've gone this far. May I indulge myself and
take the floor?
All right, I'll do it as quick as I can. This is where I personally don't like. This is my new insight into another reason why The Last Jedi is a bunch of shite. Okay,
always comes back to Jedi.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Ben Solo and Luke Skywalker tell Rey different versions of when Luke tried to murder Ben, right? And basically Luke's going, "Oh, I just held the lightsaber for a second," and Ben's going, "You tried to kill me." Both obviously telling very much their point of view. That's fine. That's the unreliable narrator. The point is that Ruin of Roundhead filmed both scenes. And basically, and again, if you don't mind filming lies, then it doesn't matter. But for me, it's like you can't film it because it didn't go down both ways. Which way did it go down? And he never resolves it. He never answers the question. That is bad filmmaking. What he's basically saying is there's no such thing as reality. That's someone that's had too many of the wrong drugs. You know what I mean?
But it doesn't look. There's no point in talking about some Last Jedi because we know the history behind it, and we know we definitely know the history behind it.
No point talking about it. I'm spinning a book out of
there
this.
isn't. There isn't talk. There is no point talking about the actual script itself or the story because we all know that the story doesn't make any sense, and we all know that Roundhead Ryan hasn't really got any talent, and he wrote this thing, and basically he was under the control of Kathleen Kennedy, and he wanted to basically do the feminine agenda thing where it made all the women look great and men look like stupid idiots, and that's what he did, right?
Well, that's documented.
But why talk about a script that's really bad, that has no logic, and and this is off most of the fans. It's not, in my opinion, it's not a script worthy of talking about because it's so bad.
Ooh,
that's the thing. That's
right.
right.
I'm proud of myself. I found a new plot hole.
1 hour 5.
Don't think it's a plot hole, then. Yeah.
But there's loads of plot holes in that film. Absolutely shitloads. And what's the point? Look, we talking about Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, that's a film worth talking about. Talking about whether a dream sequence work. What you were saying just now. That's worth talking about because the film is of worth. But Last Jedi is not of any worth at all. Because basically,
I like it. I like that. It doesn't count as a film anyway.
No, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't count as a good enough talking point. It really doesn't.
Have you seen the latest Doomcock video? Apparently, they're going. Disney are going to try and effectively kind of retcon all their trilogy and redo parts of it.
Look,
and put it out on streaming.
We need stars to stand up and say, this is bullshit. We need producers to literally have some balls and stand up and say, Hollywood's going down the wrong. Until that happens, things are not going to change. They're all scared of losing their jobs and stuff like that. But, I tell you, strength in numbers. If all of them decided, Bill Burr's the only one that standed up and say, and what's his name? The other comedian, the black guy, I can't remember I never remember that guy's name. They're the only ones standing up and saying this is all crap. What Hollywood and what TV is doing is absolute bollocks. And Bill Burr's girlfriend is black. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really blame him anything.
Bill Burr, as in Mandalorian. Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Oh, that's him. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. He's the only one in Hollywood to stand up saying this is absolute bullshit. He actually got invited onto Saturday Night Live, and his monologue in the beginning was about how we started off trying to help people of color being on TV, and suddenly all these rich women took over, and now it's all about the feminine agenda. How did that happen? And he made it very funny, but what he was saying is true. Do you know what I mean about what's going on now? So until big stars stand up and say this is bollocks, be prepared for more shit.
And the BBC duly followed.
Yeah, exactly. But BBC is a different kettle of fish. They were always in that camp, but they hid it very well. Until they came out, properly. So they were always in that camp. Ever since I was 17, they were always in that camp.
Okay, when Star Wars, aka Episode 4: A New Hope, based on the rationale that you're allowed to film the unreliable narrator, then I want you to be consistent, and I want you, the Mega Geek, to lobby that you get to remake Star Wars Episode 4. and when you do, I absolutely insist that when we're on that early scene in Tatooine, when Ben Kenobi has rescued Luke Skywalker and he's telling him about his father, telling him all the lies. Your father was a navigator on a spice freighter. I can't get the words out because I'm so zonked. Right, then I want actual footage of Anakin Skywalker getting killed by Darth Vader, because that is a lie that never happened. But Ben Kenobi tells it, and you're saying it's all right to film, and that would make the twist in Empire Strikes Back even better because they filmed it. You know what I mean? Got to be consistent.
The thing is, though, we're talking about a film because it's obvious to all of us that George Lucas was making it up as he went along, and when he shot,
I've stated that.
The first film, it wasn't in his mind that Darth Vader was Luke's dad. It only came to fruition when they were making Empire Strikes Back.
That's what I'm saying. But if we're going to film lies, then we should film Anakin Skywalker getting killed by Darth Vader.
You don't get it, Cockney. It's up to the filmmaker.
No, I totally get it. I'm saying be consistent. You can't just say you don't get it.
No, you don't have. But that's the point I'm trying to make. You don't have to be consistent as a filmmaker. You don't have to take what other filmmakers.
Okay, now we've got a point of disagreement. I'm saying you do have to be consistent, otherwise the whole thing's off because it's already fiction.
No, it's up to the filmmaker. If the filmmaker, like, if you're a filmmaker and you deem that whole point about filming something that's not true is totally off the table, then don't do it. But if Tarantino deems it as a good point, he will do it. That's the beauty.
I'm saying if you do it, then do it in episode 4.
Cockney, are you being too literal about it all?
No, not at all. I've been working on. I'm not a genius. It takes me years to come up with these things. That's why it annoys me when people just bet them off like it's fucking nothing.
No,
it took me literally years to come to this point. Anyway, I'm coming out with a book on this, and so I don't care.
But you know that's the point I'm trying to make, is that filmmakers have every right
to do
whatever they want to do.
I'm not doing anything. Yeah. You're getting. It's called breathing, mate. You're getting worked up.
No, listen,
you are, and you don't need to. And this,
your views are just as valid as my views and even Roundhead's views. I guess, you know, people have a right to say what they want to say at the end of the day. You know,
Cockney, you're getting tetchy. You're getting tetchy, mate. You don't need to. You don't need to, mate. Just tone it down.
You know what? Right.
Tone it down.
I'll throw you an idea. I was thinking of doing just to go off on the subject slightly. I was thinking of doing a series called Not That You'll Notice. And I was thinking of actually taking the films that I've shot and show you things that you probably didn't notice, like a certain camera shot that actually evoked an emotion, or a certain shot that I had to do because I ran out of time. Right. So that filmmakers can learn how to do these things. Because every time you see a filmmaker come on YouTube or Facebook and they say, tune into my webcast, I will teach you how to do this. I'll make you a better YouTube maker. I'll make you a better filmmaker. All you have to do is give me your email address, because they always want so they can bombard you with stuff, But what I want to do is I want to show people for free, and it won't be long either. It'll be 2 minutes. And I want to see called Not That You'd Notice. And basically it's like, for instance, there's a shot in Fallen Angels, the horror film that I made. It's not a very good horror film, but it's okay. Right. So in the day when I was shooting it, with the 3 people talking, and we're running out of time. So usually when you do 3 people talking, you do coverage, then you do shot of the first person, then the second person, medium close up, the third person, and medium close up, whatever, mid shot, whatever. And that takes time. So I had to figure out how to do all that within the short space of time I did. And what I did was a tracking shot with 3 people lined up in the shot. You can see all 3 of them. Yeah. So when I tracked into these 3 people, one person was in the foreground, the next person was in the middle, and the other person was further away. So as I tracked in, the first person that was talking was the person in front. So she said her line, the third person said their line, and we ended up in a 2-shot. Therefore, doing that whole thing within 1 shot is called a oneer. So that's what I want to do. I want to explain to filmmakers that there are ways out of doing this rather than doing coverage if you're running out of time. And that'd be like a 2-minute thing. And therefore they learn really fast, because I know people don't have, the attention span of a gnat these days. So what do you think? Bringing that idea is a good idea or a bad idea?
I heard you say for free. Don't do it for free.
No, I want to do it for free.
Good on you.
Something kind of similar, obviously not quite as precise as yours. Somebody I saw on YouTube, somebody reviewed films at, I think it was quarter speed or half speed, to kind of pick up on things you hadn't noticed at full speed.
Oh, I like that.
So it's kind of similar to what you're doing, but you're getting really down into the technical level.
Filmmaking.
You're really getting into the technical level. Yeah.
Yeah. Like for instance, right? You guys have seen Temple of Doom, right?
Yep.
Yeah. My least favorite Indiana Jones film.
Dark as fuck.
So there is a point, right? So this is the point. A lot of people don't see this, and this is what I want people to see as filmmakers. Okay.
Is it a Klingon in a tree?
Right. No. There's a point in Temple of Doom where the Indian guys explain to Indiana Jones that they stole their children. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So what Spielberg does to actually make what he's saying connect with you emotionally is that he has the camera up to the level of Harrison Ford. Okay. And as Harrison Ford is walking, he's tracking back. right? And the Indian guy saying something, and Indiana Jones is saying it in English so that Willie Scott can understand, right? Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
Right, so the camera starts at his eye level, and then towards the end of the scene, the last line he says is, "Their children, they stole their children." The camera's looking right up at Harrison Ford, almost up his nose. The camera's so low, and what Spielberg was trying to say, what Spielberg was trying to say visually was that how low can you get? You stole people's children by visually doing it, by making the camera go right down and looking up at Indiana Jones, right? And the normies don't get that. What they do is they get it subconsciously.
God, he's good.
Right? That's why Spielberg, as a director, works really well and connects with the audience instead of shooting it A to B all the time. Do you understand what I'm saying, Cockney?
Yes.
So that's what I want to show young filmmakers, that there are ways. Look, you don't just have a tracking shot because you can do it. You have a tracking shot for a reason, to express a mood. Like when, what's his name? When Roy Schneider's sitting in the beach thing, and suddenly the little boy gets eaten in the water in Jaws, and you have that, you know, tracking shot pull out thing. That's to express how he felt. That's to express the horror that Chief Brody was feeling when he's seeing that kid get eaten by the shark. That's what people don't understand about directing these days. You don't just have 6 cameras shooting the fuck out of something. The camera has to express a mood. That's the reason why we do a move. And that's what I want to show people in my films and other films and whatever.
So would you kind of take a clip and then kind of disassemble it?
I can only, you know, copyright obviously if I use other films. I reckon
take the volume off.
But I can show you in the stuff that I've done, how I tackled those stuff and how I try to make you connect to what I'm showing subconsciously. That's the whole power of directing. You have to connect subconsciously to the viewer. That's why if you go to see a film that's shot really badly, you come out the cinema and you don't think about it. When you see a film that connects with you, that's the reason why. It's because the director moves the camera to express a mood, so that will connect with you subconsciously. That's why you come out and go, shit, I can't stop thinking about that movie. Godfather, Exorcist, Jaws. Do you know what I mean? All those films, Saving Private Ryan, they're all films that connect with you subconsciously.
Yeah. Apparently, there is a law, an American law, that if you want to use clips, you can use them if it's deemed fair use or for review. Yeah, you know the one. So,
they're trying to change it.
Should do it.
What I don't want is to do something that's like 15 minutes long. I want to just get to the point and say, there you go, take that. Because how many times have you've listened to a teacher talk, he goes round and round in the circles, then he comes to the point. When you could have thought, why don't you just come to the point? I mean,
5 minutes, 5 minutes tops.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Or even less. So that you can come to the point so that people can understand fast. That's the whole point. You know, I went on a course about directing once and got kicked out of class because the teacher said to me that you couldn't move the camera, have loads of things happening in one shot. You got to have a cutaway. And I said, no, that's not true. I've seen it in films. And I was arguing with him. And then the week later, I brought him Back to the Future, where they had a oneer, where it was just one shot and people coming into frame and coming out frame. And he kicked me out of the class because I was right. That's
a good teacher, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. So I think the amount of people
where was that course?
Oh, it was a government course because I couldn't get into film school. I couldn't afford to go to film school. So there was this government course. It was a 3-year course what taught you photography, video, and graphics all in one.
We got kicked out of the class.
And you got kicked off?
Kicked out of the class. I got kicked out of the class.
Correct. Not an opinion.
Well, we've seen your films. We can tell you got kicked off, mate.
I got kicked off, but the guy was a BBC guy. He taught
all right.
BBC. So he was only taught one way.
That's why you've never got into the BBC, mate, because he's marked your cards.
Well, no, it's not that. He was a teacher. He was there, you know, he was employed by the school. I mean, his name was Des. I remember him. He used to smoke.
So he says.
Yeah. His name was Des. So,
Des O'Connor.
and he said, get out. He said,
Desmond
you know.
Decker.
I'm not. Sorry, I'm going
Desmond Decker.
No, that's really something, because it's not like a difference of opinion. It was a fact. He said you can't do this. You proved him wrong by bringing him evidence, and he He should have made you the teacher, not kicked you out the class. See, that's someone's runaway rampant ego getting in the way of education. That is, as a former teacher, I think that is disgusting that he did that to you.
As I've said to you many times, Cockney, I don't mind anybody being confident and saying I'm right.
Yeah,
as long as they are.
Yes, that's the gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't got
Actually,
if I think they know better, But yeah,
well,
Mega
Burnett
Geek
said that on
knew
his
he was
show.
right. Bish bash bosh, job's a good one.
See, Burnett said that on his show, and I think he was talking about me, going, people criticising me because they think they're right. I'm thinking he's talking about me, and I am right, and that's why I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go till I speak to Tarantino.
we need
at this stage.
on
I'm not even
120.
kidding. I want confirmation from Tarantino.
Tarantino, Brie Larson on here, and Burnett on here.
But you know what? This is a lesson. This is like the replicant debate. If there's a debate on it and you can't get a simple answer from watching the film, then intentionally or otherwise, it's confusing. Whether it's clever or stupid filmmaking, again, it's a fine line. But like the Blade Runner replicant question, or the dream question in Total Recall, or the was it imagination or happening Reservoir Dogs? If there's not a clear answer, then it's vague. Then the question becomes: is it deliberately vague or accidentally vague? And if it's not deliberately vague, then what was the intention of the author? And if you have to ask the director, then probably made a mistake.
But it's multifaceted, that answer, though. I mean, it's not like it's like there's it's like when a woman says men get paid more than women and we should get paid equal pay and blah 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 blah. But the question and the answer is not as simple as men just want to pay more and give more money to men than women, because
not everyone's doing the same job. So
exactly, the jobs are different, and you get paid according to what you bring to that job. And I mean, women in psychiatry earn more money than men. Right. Do you know what I mean? So the question,
I didn't know that, but okay,
that is a fact. But the question is the thing that you got to look into. It's not what it seems on the surface. The question is more multifaceted than that question you're asking, Cockney, is far more complicated than you think.
Than the actual right, yeah. Well, there you go. Well, that's exactly the answers in the question. If you're asking the question and there's not a clear answer after you've watched the film 17 times, then you've got yourself an essay on your hands, basically, haven't you?
Yeah.
If you've got to ask the director, what did you mean by that? Then it's clearly a vague question. And as I say, then it becomes, were you being deliberately vague or were you just rushing because you wanted to go down the pub at the end of the shoot?
I mean, there's like, as I said, if you've not seen, I've tried to be too clever in Rebecca Girl. There's one scene in it where they're both in the car. The two girls are in the car and the soldier's shooting at them. So basically they're talking and suddenly Rebecca suddenly stops and she says, be quiet. And then she rolls down the window and she sees the soldier, and she shoots him, right?
Shoots the soldier in the shoulder.
Yeah, so shoots the soldier. And then when you get to, I think it's episode 3, we play that scene again, and we play it so that you know what's happening. Like she's getting a character called Jeannie's telling her in her ears because she can see she's got access to all the CCTV, so she can see the soldier, and she's telling Rebecca what's going on. So the next time you see it, you hear the voice, and this is the reason why Rebecca knows there's a guy outside. So that's what I'm saying. So a lot of people don't get that. They look at that and go, "Why are you playing that scene again?" And
because there's new information, people.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't see that. Normies don't see that. That's my
normies.
Point. Yeah. So. That's where the things get confusing,
You make films for film connoisseurs. No, so you know what? I mean, I do apologise for being tetchy. I like a bit of fire, though. It's a fine line.
You were being tetchy, but you know me. He was being a bit of a naughty little boy.
No, I don't think so.
I'll put it, but what I'm saying is it's lack of sleep, but the excuse is not a reason. Hence my formal and public apology.
Listen, mate, you don't need to apologise on here, mate.
No, you don't.
Not on here, mate. Not on here. You know that.
But what I'm saying is, I like the fact that we get paid. Maybe there's a fine line to
passion, mate.
Cross the line to tetchy. I like a bit of fire in our conversation, so I never want to cross the line again to tetchy.
Fire and fatigue.
Fire. I mean, imagine if we're all just sitting around going, "Oh, what do you think about Reservoir Dogs? Yes, great. Oh, what do you think about that scene? It was all right." And we just said, that doesn't make for good radio, does it? So we've got to have a bit of passion, bit of fire, bit of difference of opinion. That's good radio. If only we had the audience to appreciate it.
Listen, we've got Slavko. That's all that matters.
Are you loving this, Slavko?
I'm just saying that look, everyone's opinion is valid as long as it isn't a very stupid opinion and it doesn't relate to the facts that's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, your opinion is very valid, Cockney. Totally. Because you're backing it up with logic and a few facts. According to what film?
I think that's what I want, because I realise I can't get people on board to go, yes, you're right, but as long as it's worth considering.
Not on this channel, mate. We'll tell you when,
I think that's the thing, because I'm too used to people, and I think that was my psychological trigger. Two people going, oh, there, Cockney, you think you understand film, go run along and make yourself a cup of tea, will you? So exactly, you may not agree with the opinion, but at least if you can see the logic how I went down that road, that's all I ask.
Listen, your older brother will tell you when you've been an arse. All right.
Thanks, Mr. Brown. That's what we need you for. That's why we always need you on screen, online, on the show. You get off
24 hours a day.
Yep, 24 exactly.
You can tell that I'm very passionate about film, and the most annoying thing to me is the way people direct these days. Because, as I said, I never went to film school, but I learned I'm an old school director. I do try to make the camera dictate an emotion, or I do try to get the actors to emote that. You know what I mean? I'm very old school, and then when I see people directing that's getting praised upon and stuff like that, it annoys me because they're not really directing. They don't. You know what? Most of the directors I've actually met that are actually working directors, they don't know how to direct actors at all.
Right.
And it really does frustrate me.
Faster, more intense.
And some of them are really lucky because they get some really good actors and they don't have to direct them. They just let them do their...
For the folks at home, who would you consider good directors, either present or, say, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years ago? Who are good, in your opinion, good directors?
I do like I like Spielberg, obviously. I think Spielberg's a genius when it comes to
master.
directing. Yeah. And Hitchcock is definitely a genius. I do like both of them. One of my favorite directors is Richard Donner. Richard Donner is not as clever as Spielberg or
for Weapon 5.
Yeah, as Hitchcock. But Richard Donner,
Hitchcockney.
He you can tell he's a really good director. If you look at Omen, and you see some of the stuff he did in Omen. It's absolutely brilliant the way he directed Omen. And 16 Blocks? I love that film. There's a scene in it where Bruce Willis is in slow motion shooting. Somebody shoots at him and he doesn't realize people are shooting at him. Just look at that scene. So well directed, and only can come from a master director, which is Richard Donner. A lot of people don't consider Richard Donner as good as Spielberg. He isn't, but he is really good. And who's the guy that directed Baby Driver? I really like him as well. He's one of the
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. I think Edgar Wright is an amazing director, but he's up his own arse these days for some reason. But he was
going to do Ant-Man, wasn't he? Ant-Man was basically his film.
He got chucked off it, didn't he?
Yeah. But
he was great. You're right.
Really good.
He was amazing at the.
He is.
Yeah, he was amazing at the
start. He
did
Scott Pilgrim as well. Good film.
And you know what happens when you have success? Look at Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg used to be one of us. I say used to be one of us, right? Because he was a geek, and he was such a funny geek as well.
Yeah.
And now he's teamed up with Tom Cruise. He's all Tom Cruised up, and you don't feel like you connect with him anymore. Same thing with Edgar Wright as well. When Edgar wrote raw talent.
Edgar Wright.
You got Edgar Wright's raw talent, Simon Pegg's raw talent,
Nick Frost, Jessica Hines.
Nick Frost as well.
Yeah. I think Space is actually in my head. It's literally the best comedy of all time, bar none. I think Space is still underrated. Like they all went on to success, but still to this day, a lot of people.
I never saw it when it was out, and I kind of I basically binge watched it many years after. And it's good. It's good.
They have real talent, those guys, and it's a shame that Hollywood has kind of dumbed them down. And if I don't really want to be famous at all. But if one day I do make it, I tell you what, I will definitely be away from America. I'll direct something in America, and then I'm off. I'm not staying in that country. I'm not staying in there to get influenced or sugar shoved up my ass or anything like that, because I know that's accessible. The best thing that Stanley Kubrick did was he realized that, and
he
he's
stayed
like,
in England, or went
stayed in
to
England.
and stayed there.
You know,
Yeah.
and if anybody wanted to make a film, they would come to him rather than him go to them,
I'm
because he
going to
knew.
rebuild Vietnam in East London. No, you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in the
Stanley
Docklands.
Kubrick.
But
And
you know,
did it too.
he knew if he stayed there, he would end up like majority of them, you know, up their own arse and, you know, thinking that the world revolves around them, you know, that,
Yeah.
and he knew that. And that's one thing I really take my hat off to Stanley Kubrick doing that, you know. So
The flat cap, yes.
Yeah,
well, you
you're gonna
keep going
dock
talking
the
about my
flat
flat cap.
You will be taking your flat cap off to Stanley Kubrick.
Well, it's
Yeah,
literally,
definitely.
It's like, your hat is
Dofting.
literally iconic. It's literally your icon.
And writers, I love writers, you know. I don't.
Oh,
I
thanks.
mean,
130.
I like.
I love writers too.
Shane Black used to be a good writer. I don't know what he's doing now, but when he started off,
The
he was
Predator.
amazing.
Ugh.
Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. And you know, because things have changed now, and it's not changed for the good either. It's changed for the worse. You know, that's what I think. I mean, but it's so anyone can make a film these days on their phone. You know, with a dinky camera, and it will look
Yep.
terrific because technology. But to tell a
HD.
good story, to direct well, to actually make sure that things look good, they still haven't grasped that fact. You know,
The technology is getting better and the writing's getting worse.
worse, yeah. It's a
True
shame.
that. It is. That's why we need a combo. We need good script, good acting, good camera, good
You know what,
direction.
guys? I think we're going to call it a draw on that. I think that seems
130,
nice.
130.
I think that seems a nice point to finish off.
Can I ask you a
Nice.
question before we finish off? Why do
Yeah.
you keep calling out the numbers when we're doing it? I don't understand that logic at all. Maybe I'm missing something here. Why do you keep going 130, 10 minutes?
OCD.
Because if we ever kind of come up with a valid point,
All right.
it just seems it kind of appeals to our kind of OCD sense of humor as well. That if it's just easier to log, if somebody's making a valid point, I can go later and just put it in the time, say 120. It's just easier, if you know what I mean. So
You won't be able to find it that fast,
it's no, you can put location markers in the description.
I see.
You just basically put a time,
Right.
and it comes up with a blue link, and it'll skip straight to that.
Okay.
So
I did not know that.
it's just a nice way of kind of getting a flow and a rhythmic feel to the show as well. So we kind of do sections in, you know, kind of timed chunks, if you know what I mean.
Don't worry that people are not watching this. We're the diamond in the rough, mate. Somebody will find us.
It's just kind of,
Nicely
if anything,
put, yes.
it's just kind of amusing Cockney and myself as well. But it
It's
is good.
for me. It's like a running joke, but I
It
like
is
it.
good to remember, believe it or not.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I understand totally. Thanks for having me on again. As I said, I wanted to tell Cockney about the time travel.
It's been brilliant,
thing
mate.
that
Yeah, well, I would like to come back to the time travel in future when
Yeah,
I'm
no, no.
awake.
As
Yeah,
I
cool.
said, Ian, it's open invite. Anytime you want to come on at a nooner, just send me the link. Oh, sorry, just ask in the morning. I'll shoot it over you.
No problem. How did it go with Problem Being last night anyway?
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's all right. We got a few little snippets about Han Solo and KK and the directors.
All right.
I was
cool.
loving the comedy. I recommend minutes 19 through 36. It's non-stop Tito comedy.
We kind of started off with the COVID thing again, which seems to dominate. So the format is we try and do 10, 15, 20 minutes of the
Bleak depression.
of the
Get it out
day
of the
to
way.
day, get it out of the way, and then we kind of do the fun stuff, you know. So
Right.
It
it's
offers
got
up
to
a
be done, hasn't it?
contrast.
It's got to be done, you know.
No, I think it works well. I think it's because we're so serious that by the time we get to the light stuff, we're kind of gagging for the light stuff. We've earned it, and the laughs are flowing more freely.
Yeah.
So no,
I
I like it.
I think Dan might be coming on here tomorrow. I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, if he does come on, I'll come on with him because he's always a good laugh. Then
Yeah, Dan's great. Long overdue to come on. So yeah, if you want to come on, as I said, anytime you want to come on, ask. The link will come over, mate.
sure. Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks.
Cheers, Ian. You
All right,
are
brilliant.
superb. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye
See ya.
everyone. Cheers.
Bye.